Keiko's Diary.
Welcome to the Keiko's Diary podcast, where I get up close and personal with creatives to uncover the people behind the art. Without further ado, let's bring in today's guest, the king of anime, Todd Haberkorn. Take a bow. Mm-hmm. You are one of the most legendary actors in the biz. So do you ever just pinch yourself sometimes when you wake up to realize that this is truly your life and not a dream?
For me, I always am just like kind of rolling with it, whether the good or the bad or everything in between. And so I don't know, I should do that. I should pinch myself every now and then. But for me, it's just a matter of trying to always keep moving up my little mountain. And I blame my mom for that, because she was such a hard worker and she put that in me. And so it's like when I do think about it, though, it's usually at a convention when we interact with fans, because when we record it and we work on it, the different projects that we work on, oftentimes it's kind of in a vacuum, and we don't really get any the direct feedback, and so
Definitely.
You kind of get used to not getting it. And so then when you go to a convention and you meet somebody that is a fan of something that you happen to work on, it kind of jars you, because you're like, oh yeah, people watch and play those things, and yeah. They get to it didn't just go away into like the universe and that's it. So yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, conventions and whenever you get to meet with fans, that's really when it must sink in and you realize how powerful all these different things you're a part of actually are. Yeah, it's the universal language, I find, is no matter where I go in the world, the feeling of happiness that I see from people is the same in every language and every culture. So that's the kind of the universal translators, the entertainment world, I feel like. What a poetic way to put it. We know what Todd is up to next. He's going to release a book of poetry, and it's going to fly off the shelves. I hope so. There we go. You're well known for countless roles, so let me just have you take a back seat for a minute as I read off some of these. I mean, my goodness. You're the voice of Natsu Dragneel in Fairy Tail, Death the Kid from Soul Eater, Haruka Nanase from Free, Sho Minazuki from the Persona franchise, awesome, Ling Yao in Fullmetal Alchemist, Android 19 from Dragon Ball Z, Kai, and all the things afterwards. But you're also in Attack on Titan, Ouran High School Host Club, Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, Hello, Tekken, Bloodline, Pokemon, Ever After High and Monster High, Final Fantasy, Ben 10, Scooby-Doo, and so much more. Okay. Was becoming this voiceover royalty that you are the goal, or did it just happen? When did you realize that you had such a gift in your voice? Well, that's very kind of you to say. I actually didn't know voiceover was going to be a thing that was ever an option for me. I started off in stage and then moved to on camera, and voiceover was sort of the last thing that fell into place, not because I sought it out, but because I stumbled upon it from someone saying you should try and audition for voiceover. And it was a different environment than it is now, where I feel like there are a lot of people that really want to be in the world of voiceover, but when I was getting into it, we didn't really have, there wasn't that push. Anime wasn't as big as it is now. And so it's something that I gambled on and was like, let me try it and we'll see what happens. And the rest is history. But it's not something that I also was necessarily calculated in. I just wanted to do my goal throughout my entire career has always been make a living doing what I love. And so the reason I say that is because I think there are times when everybody has different goals for why they get into any aspect of any industry. But I think particularly with voiceover, I do see some people that are like, I want to get into it because I want to be famous, or I want to get into it because I want to go to conventions, or I want to, and I feel like, with that aspect, you are banking on an aspect of the industry that you have the least amount of control over.
So true.
So then why would you stake all your happiness and your worth on something you have so little control over? And so for me, I just always said, well, then let me just do my best in whatever production that I'm a part of, whatever adventure I'm a part of, because I know I can control that. And then we'll see what happens. And then before you know it, you look back and you've run 100 miles when you thought, hey, I was just going to go to the end of the corner. And so that's kind of how I look at it.
Before we talk about all the wonderful roles you've done and things like that, let's kick things off with my favorite segment, the 60-second 411. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite movie?
Ooh. RoboCop.
Favorite song?
I'm gonna narrow it down in my brain. It's Speaking Aloud. It's a Dave Matthews song, I'm sure, and I'm gonna go with right now, because it always changes, Blackbird.
Awesome.
Bluebird.
Favorite game?
Favorite game? Call of Duty.
Greatest fear?
Greatest fear. Someone. This is bad, but someone not liking me.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, hot or cold weather.
Cold.
Night owl or morning bird?
Morning bird.
Favorite singer?
I mean, Adele's awesome.
Yeah. Favorite food?
Fruit.
Favorite holiday?
Ooh. I sure do like Christmas.
Oh, me too. Agreed.
What was the next one, just to know?
Next question was, did we answer biggest pet peeve?
Oh, biggest pet peeve? Bad customer service.
I think you have some scarring memories, probably.
Oh, yeah, especially on the phone.
On the phone.
Especially on the phone. Because I feel like all they have to do is go like, can I place you on a brief hold? And then they disconnect the call and you're like, I can never get back to that scum again.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I've got an old man mutt right here. He's taking a nap. I also love cat. I love all animals, but I feel like on a day-to-day basis, dogs, because of they blend in nicely with the pack that is your home.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
To be able to speak every language and dialect on the planet.
That'd really come in handy, especially in voiceover.
Oh my gosh, like I'll do the live action dub in the English, the original language, and all the other languages.
Who's your favorite Spice Girl?
Posh. She's
fancy.
She's aged well.
What was your favorite subject in school?
American history.
The Spotlight.
We've got to talk a minute about Fairy Tail. The manga has sold over 72 million copies, and the anime, which concluded in 2019, spawned over 300 episodes and 2 films. Wow. So what were your feelings during that last recording session as Natsu, after voicing him for so many years? That must have been bittersweet.
I mean, it was me constantly reminding myself to be in the moment, and 2 things happen. One, as you record something for a long time, you get comfortable with it, so casual with it. And so
right.
I was trying to fight that and to remember the feeling and remember the moment. And then I think that's impossible to do, actually, over the long run. So I try to remember, highlights, like a highlights reel of those times. And with Fairy Tail, they're animating the 100-year quest, and that'll be coming to our shores hopefully before too long. I know there's a lot of buzz about it, and I hope it comes before the end of the year. It'd be a nice 2023 surprise, so we'll see what happens. I gotta work on my Fire Dragon Roars. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, yeah. I think that's another reason why you've been so successful is because of your specific instrument, your voice. You just have the coolest tone. Like, I would be talking all day if I sounded like that.
Oh, well, that's super kind of you. I actually was made fun of for my voice for a lot of years, and in the formative years when you're like figuring out if you're going to be confident in yourself or not. And so I actually don't particularly enjoy the sound of it, which is weird because I'm in voiceover, obviously.
It's interesting. It seems like a lot of people who are really talented whatever they're really good at, sometimes they are made fun of for it when they're growing up. It's really weird.
And I had a vocal coach in college who did not like my voice. She was very hard on me. And so I literally looked at her one day towards one of the last lessons, and I was like, I literally cannot do what you're asking me to do. Like, my voice is built to speak Vietnamese, which is a very up in the nasal passages language. And
Right.
I'm like a car, I'm like a Jeep that's supposed to be up in the mountains, but I'm on concrete roads. So I'm just making the best with what I got. So that's where we're at. And she didn't like that.
I just love the way you put that. Another one of your unforgettable roles is Ling Yao in Fullmetal Alchemist. So Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is really considered to be one of the best anime series ever made. It's got an approval rating of 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's
wow.
insane. So I think you're really able to shine so well in this role and show off many of your strong points, as does the entire cast. And the first series was actually in 2003, and then Brotherhood came in 2009.
With Ling, he was someone that was a new addition to Brotherhood. And so by the time I got to Brotherhood, I had known of Full Metal, and I knew of its clout in the anime world. And so when I was asked to take on the role by Mike McFarlane, who directed it, I was actually recording Hitachiin at the time in the booth, and we were on a break. And then he said, "Hey, I got a role for you. He's a prince." Like and I go, "What show is it for?" And he goes, "Oh, you'll see it when we get to it." And then when I got in the booth, I saw the image was frozen on a shot in a scene, and I just the animation style, you just know it. You can just tell that it's a Full Metal thing.
You just know it.
Yeah, and so when I saddled up and then we rock and rolled.
There are two other very iconic franchises you're a part of, and you voiced Jadeite in Sailor Moon and Android 19 in multiple Dragon Ball Z media. So these are really famous names that have been around for decades. It must have been really exciting to become a part of that legacy.
Well, with Sailor Moon, it was bittersweet because I was one of the first generals. I was the first general to die, but I had cool boots.
Cool boots.
And it was that was another show where when you see it, even if you've not watched it, you know what that series is because it is part of the pop culture lexicon. And to then go on to direct 2 Sailor Moon movies was a great honor. And also to work with Dragon Ball Z, just to work with Sabat and Schimmel and Raleigh, who currently directs it, and he engineers all of it. Those guys have known them for years, and it was awesome to of course be in that world as Android 19 and then later Jocko. It's fun to get to play with those guys and have an excuse to a good excuse to get in the booth with them. And Dragon Ball is probably right up there with Pokemon and Dragon Ball. Those are, when you think anime, that's the first image that whether it's consciously or unconsciously will conjure in your head, because they're so well known all over the face of the earth. And so It is cool to be part of that fabric in a small way.
You are incredible as Android 19. Again, showing off your range. I mean, that is amazing that you're able to do that.
Oh, yeah, I just director, tell me where to go and I'll do my best. So
something interesting that you did more recently was actually the 6th episode Tekken anime on Netflix called Tekken Bloodline. Again, another amazing property added to your name. The saying is really overused, but I've got to say Tekken truly is my childhood. So hearing you voice Hwoarang, it was really neat.
That was actually, interestingly enough, even though it looks like an anime, we recorded it because it was an original animation where we originated the voices. So it wasn't something we didn't dub it. And so working on that with Phil was cool because he tends to have a very grounded approach to how he wants to build his voiceover camp with the other actors. So it was cool, and it came out really well. It looked really nice. I don't know what the future holds for if there's going to be more seasons or not, but I'm happy to come and play because, like yourself, I mean, yeah, I played Tekken 2, and that was right up there with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
All the best. Yeah, and I've got to say, I really feel like you gave one of your most realistic performances to date because, when we think of Tekken, it's so fun and over the top. And so I was really impressed when I watched it, and you made him feel like a real person. It was so cool.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad. Hopefully that was, that's what our chef, our director wanted to cook. And so I'm glad we got to get that to the table for everybody.
Have you ever?
First question, Todd. Have you ever gone skydiving?
I've done iFly, which is the indoor skydiving. I haven't done the actual, but I want to do it.
You're braver than I am. Have you ever touched a snake?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Held them
on purpose?
Oh, yeah. We have held them. They've slept on me. They've wrapped around me and all of that. I'm cool with snakes. It's roaches and spiders I have a harder time with.
Have you ever broken your phone?
The only times that I've broken it are when I've had a case and a screen protector on it. And the case and the screen protector come out fine in the screen of the phone breaks.
Have you ever been betrayed?
Oh, certainly. Absolutely. It depends on on a variety of genres of life, for sure. I think we all have, because I was thinking about that. I'm like, why, in the grand debate of whether people are born evil or born good, a little child growing up, you don't have to teach that child how to lie. You don't have to teach that kid how to steal. You do have to teach them, hey, we don't hit each other. Hey, we tell the truth. Hey, don't take that thing. You do have to teach them that. So what does that say about our inside? I don't know.
Have you ever cried in public?
Oh, yeah. Definitely Pixar movies. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for sure. But yeah, even outside of movies, for absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of Pixar, Up, that's a very touching one in particular.
Oh my God, yeah, so good.
Have you ever broken any bones?
Several, yeah.
Oh no. Have you ever exploded with rage?
Yeah. I think we all have our moments where we haven't had time to step back and take a breath.
Right.
And then we keep getting pushed to the cliff, the edge of the cliff. I think it'd be weird if I didn't. Because if you think about it, anger and tears and happiness, those are all just emotions. It's natural to exercise the muscle of each of those emotions when they need to be exercised. I think the maturity comes in where you decide how those are exercised.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh no.
Stranger, that's never fun either.
No.
Never found that fun. Yeah. It's always like an interesting surprise, kind of like when you're eating a bowl of queso and then when you get to the bottom you realize, wow, there were a bunch of tapeworms down there the whole time. It's like,
I mean, you could always, anyone who does you wrong, you could just call them and then scream in your Natsu voice or something. Yeah. Have you ever seen a ghost?
I think so. For me, I don't know. I saw one on a movie that I worked on. I don't know. I can't definitively say what's out there and what other planes of existence exist because I don't know everything. And I think it would be kind of arrogant for me to be like, there's definitively these things don't exist. That would be strange for me to say. Now, my problem is, why are the ghosts that we see always from the 1800s? Is there some backlog to where only these people can be ghosts for right now? And we'll get to the 1990s and stuff like that, but they're way in the back of the line. I don't know.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
I think so. But again, it's like, was that an anomaly, a space anomaly of some sort of scientific thing that was happening that I just happened to catch, or was I tired? Was I, I don't know. And it sure seems like we do have something going on with UFOs. And it's so strange. It's like, we chase UFOs and we always see the bad footage of UFOs and such. And then we have the Pentagon, who releases hundreds of pages of documents on it. And everyone's like, what's interesting, and maybe it's a little telling and a little bit projecting of the human race, is that oftentimes when you hear about what if aliens come to Earth, people are like, they're scared of that. And they think, oh, well, the aliens will enslave us, etc. That's because that's what we as humans would do on another planet.
You're making me think some deep thoughts here. This is some stuff to think about later, Todd. Have you ever run away?
Yeah. That was a symptom of cowardice, of not wanting to face something that seemed really difficult at the time. I just did not have the tools to deal with the thing that was facing me, and so the only thing I could think of was to run away.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about getting older is sometimes you're able to develop more tools and ways to handle things because you've experienced more. And so, yeah, that's one good thing. Have you ever done something crazy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are certain stereotypes about actors that are just totally true. On stage, off stage, being crazy. Oh, yeah. Weird coping mechanisms.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever tried something and regretted it?
Oh, sure. Yeah. But I look at regret as we use and trade in for experience. Experience is good and bad. It just is. And sometimes to gain the experience, we have to cash in some chips. What we're going to get with that experience is some regret. But we got the experience. And so people that say that they don't have regrets, I feel like, in my opinion, one of two things is happening. One, they have not left their comfort zone island. Or two, their perspective on what a regret is maybe different from mine. If we're not perfect, if we are imperfect, then we should have regrets. Because we don't know. We all don't know what we're doing. It's not like we're born and then 2 seconds later out pops the manual for how I should live my life.
Oh.
So, that's how we learn.
You need a show or something, a talk show where you just unravel the issues of life. I think you could help a lot of people.
Maybe one day. Maybe that'll be next.
Have you ever pulled an all-nighter?
Oh my God, yes. Recording audiobooks. I've recorded through the night before. I've been on set through the night. 17-hour days on set before. I've done video 24-hour and 48-hour video races before. Absolutely. Yeah.
Have you ever been terrified?
Absolutely, on roller coasters. Maybe I will when I skydive.
Fan mail.
Odds and Ends asked, does your family watch your shows or play your games? That's a good one.
That is a good one. My mom does not. So my parents don't. But my uncle and his family, my cousins and I guess other cousins, their kids, they do. And they let me know. But there's a cultural difference. Like on my mom's side, it's very, very, because I'm first gen immigrant family here. So like they're very, what you would typically think of as an Asian family, very stoic, very like I'm the first one out of both sides of the family to go into the entertainment industry.
Oh, cool.
So that fluency of, hey, you do a thing and we go watch it. Like they don't quite know that. My wife's family, they do make an effort. Like like my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, they definitely watch and they have stuff and I've signed stuff for them. So yeah.
Aw, Cynthia Cosner wants to know, what is the most difficult role you have portrayed thus far?
The weirdest role, which might also be the most difficult, was Betelgeuse from ReZero. He was a really crazy, sinister, very like the anime Joker, basically, but like not for kids. He was probably one of the hardest. Oh yeah, it was a lot of screaming, a lot of different screaming than Natsu. A lot of ups and downs and changes of emotion, like in milliseconds, and yeah, on top of having to match picture.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no biggie. A question from Pink Popcorn. They have a little bit to say. They say, seriously, Todd Haberkorn is amazing. He's been in so many of my favorite things. OMG. If I had to pick a favorite, I must say I have such a soft spot for Rune Factory Tides of Destiny. I got that game one Christmas and literally played it for months, LOL. And I loved you as the shy but determined shopkeeper Bismarck. I can still hear his line, oh no, is that really the time, in my head. Would you mind saying it again for nostalgia? Thank you.
Oh no, is that really the time?
Oh, that was brilliant. Thank you, Todd. Do you remember recording for that game?
Oh yeah, we did that in China.
No way.
And you had to actually just kind of find it in the general vicinity because they weren't allowed to have a signage on the wall. Every time they would try to paint a sign of what the studio name was, officials would come by and paint over it. So you had to go down this one alley, I remember, and there's a piece of paper, like printer paper, that says studio this way. And that's the only way you could find it. And so yeah, we recorded in there.
I actually have played Rune Factory Tides of Destiny as well, and I enjoyed your character so much too. He was such a sweetheart. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for playing.
We've got one more question from Holtergeist. They said, I met you at New York Comic Con in 2011 and you were so nice. What does it feel like to go to these cons and receive so much love? And can you say something as your favorite characters?
Going to conventions it's a really enriching experience each time because you hear these stories about from fans all over the world that talk about how impactful these shows and these games that I get to be a part of, how they affect their lives. And we've done Make-A-Wish wishes for kids, and one was he just wanted to come in and see us record Fairy Tale. Another one was we've had through conventions we've been able to highlight needs, like through Red Cross, Make-A-Wish. There's an event I'm doing later in the summer that's for cancer, Voices Against Cancer, and so that's enriching for the human side of everybody. But then it's just nice to know that what we do means something to people, and it can be a talisman of joy for people when they're going through a dark tunnel in their life and they need a light to get to the end of it.
Sometimes these shows are people's only comfort when they're going through a time, and I think the stability, they can rely on these characters, and so you really are doing something special. And yeah, they would like to know if you could say something as your favorite character.
Razor from Genshin Impact. And speaking of the convention scene, people at conventions, they are Lupacol. They will hunt with me. The other extreme, which is from Destiny, the Drifter. Because when you're not at a convention, you better be on the field banking moats.
The Deep Dive.
So Todd, if a genie could grant you 3 wishes, what would they be?
100 trillion tax-free U.S. legal dollars. Because then I can grant, after the 3 wishes are done, I could grant a lot of other wishes for myself and others with $10 trillion. The second wish would be invulnerability, physical invulnerability.
Ooh.
Not emotional. I still want to feel emotions. And then the speaking all the languages and dialects on the face of the earth.
Are you afraid of death?
I'm not afraid of death. I feel like there's a baseline of contentment that one has to have with life. I feel like people that are afraid, possibly, maybe, I don't know, but maybe they're afraid of death because they feel like there's a lack of fulfillment.
What is your biggest regret?
Not having a work-life balance sooner, because I lost relationships along the way, or and or am not closer to people that I wish I was closer with, because I got all of my worth from work, and that is something that is short-sighted, and I wish I had seen that sooner. When you get to the end of your life, when you're on your deathbed, you will never say, I wish I would have answered one more email. That will never come out of your mouth.
What is your earliest memory of life?
When I broke my arm, I was 3 years old.
Wow.
I broke it in 3 places, and it was so painful. And I remember being curled up in the floorboard of the passenger side seat of the car as my mom drove me to the hospital.
At MLA, we always say keep being creative, because I just really believe in nurturing people's creativity. And so what does being creative mean to you, and how has it impacted your life and career? Do you have advice for others?
It's cool to be inspired by people. We all need inspiration, but I think that it's okay if the stuff that you make in the art form that you're doing doesn't look or sound or feel exactly like your inspirations. That's because you're charting new territory called your creativity.
Oh.
When I was a kid, my challenge was the fact that I was frustrated that the things that I was doing didn't look or sound or feel like my inspiration. I wanted to be exactly like them. But then what I realized was, well, no, I don't want to be a carbon copy of them. I didn't know this at the time, but I'm just making my own stew. And so I wish I had known that when I was younger, that it's okay that these inspirations can be just that, and they can help you make your own dish.
It has just been a pleasure talking with you today, Todd. I would just like to give you the floor just to tell the viewers about any upcoming projects you're working on, or just anything else you'd like to share before we sign off.
Sure. They just announced a show that I directed, an original animation show based on the manga Mech Cadets. It hits Netflix August 10th. It stars Daniel Dae Kim, Ming-Na Wen, and some other awesome folks. You'll know Ming-Na as the original voice of Mulan.
Right.
And she was Fennec in Book of Boba Fett. Redfall just came out on Xbox. It's got some bugs that they're going to be working out, but it was fun to work on that game. And then all sorts of other fun stuff that will pop up at some point. I'm Todd Haberkorn, and for MLA Entertainment, keep being creative.
Hey, you. You can help support the Keiko's Diary podcast by liking, subscribing, and sharing it with your friends. Sounds like you're pretty powerful. Thank you for listening, and keep being creative.